On today's show, Nicolas Batum and Ty Lue are medalists. Gold for Ty, silver for Nico. Going to talk about what that means, how the gold medal game went. And I went back to the Intuit Dome. We are 4 days away from the opening. Going to talk about it all on today's Locked On Intuit Dome Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You are locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA and entering my 20th season as a Clipper fan. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod and subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for any Clipper-related, LA sports-related, and NBA content. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. I want you to let me know in the comments section what you thought of the gold medal game and what you think of what I'm going to say about the Intuit Dome later in the episode. And this episode is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is the best place to get great deals last minute on tickets for any sort of event. Just download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Clipper Nation, it is a new week in the month of August, and I want to apologize right out of the gate for only delivering 2 episodes last week, which is completely unacceptable. I had planned the third one. My schedule was just so crazy on the weekend, but to make up for it, I will have 4 episodes this week. I promise. That is a guaranteed. That is a stamp. You can stamp it. This is Monday. I'm going to have one on Tuesday, and then we're going to have 2 more. In this one, let's talk about the gold. And that's the gold that Ty Lue and Team USA brought home. Now, of course, this is the same Team USA that basically sent Kawhi Leonard home. And there was a whole controversy about it. Why was he sent home? Did he get re-injured? There was Grant Hill saying he feels bad for him as if he got hurt, but apparently he's fine and they just sent him home because of politics and Nike basketball. And Kawhi had a lawsuit with them a couple years back. It's a lot, right? But that being said, I'm still an American. I'm still going to want USA to win. Ty Lue's on the coaching staff. Jason Powell, our head athletic trainer, is on the medical staff, on the training staff. So there's some Clipper representation out there. And I mean, look, I think we need to, and I've said this a lot, we need to have more honest conversations about assistant coaches. Because coaching staffs at every level is a collective group of basketball minds that collaborate on decisions. It's not one dictator and a bunch of yes men. That's just not how it works. And if you think that Steve Kerr has such an outrageous ego that he will not listen to the opinions of Ty Lue, Mark Few, Eric Spoelstra, like, who is Steve Kerr? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Steve Kerr is, yes, 4 rings, absolute basketball legend, LA legend, Palisades High School. So, like, he is, like, you know what I'm saying? He's certified. He was on those Bulls teams. He's a certified basketball mind. But he still has this, you know, kind of reputation that he's been gifted some of the most incredible teams of any coach. And when he hasn't had all the chips and odds stacked in his favor, the team never really completely outdoes expectation. But here's the thing. I'm a Steve Kerr guy. Obviously, I mean, like, I'm a Palisades alum as well. So, like, he's what's it called? He's, like, the second best player in our school's history after Kiki Vandeweghe. So Steve Kerr's, like, stamped. You know what I'm saying? He's from the West Side. He's from LA. Like, I'm always going to stick up for him. But the fact of the matter is, this is a collective coaching staff, and Ty Lue, our coach, has say in things. And there was a lot of controversy throughout the Olympics, mainly in regards to Jason Tatum and his minutes. But that's not really a talking point for us, I don't think. I don't think it's very relevant as a Locked On Clippers host. Let me know, though, if you have an opinion on the Jason Tatum thing, go ahead and comment it. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts because I saw a lot of Clipper fans chiming in on it, you know, throughout the Olympics. But this game was interesting, man. You had Nico on one side. Of course, I'm rooting for Team USA, but hoping Nico does well. And it was an amazing game. It was a game that was pretty defensive-minded. You obviously have Wemby, Gobert, but Gobert didn't play that much. Gershon Yabusele was an incredible star for France throughout this tournament. Even dunked on LeBron. That was amazing. But this was a crazy up and down start for both teams. And Nico had a putback dunk at like one of the first baskets of the game. And the first 6 minutes was just up and down like an all-star game. Wemby had like a crazy hezzy in transition. So like it was something. It was electric. It didn't feel like a final, in terms of that kind of intensity. It was very open, but it did get more intense as the game went on. I almost said the Clippers. The Team USA was up 20-16 after one. But throughout the game, I thought Nico was actually kind of on the quieter side. I think his defense was very good, as it always is. And the thing about Nico is he doesn't really have bad games outside of like missing shots. Because his bad defensive games are so rare that like the worst thing he's usually going to do is miss open shots that are the right shots that any coaching staff and his team would encourage him to take. So Nico was on the quieter side, but he still got a bunch of rebounds. And in the second quarter, France was only outscored by 3, but they were down 41-49 at halftime. Outscored us by 2 in the third. Then the fourth quarter was a show by Steph Curry that was absolutely ridiculous. 4 threes in a row, and they seem to just get increasingly harder. And that last one, reminds me of Kobe in the sense that he's the best. Kobe is the person I think of when I think of a guy making a shot over a double team. And Steph Curry being 6'2", he doesn't have the same height to get clean looks off the way a Kawhi or a Paul George or Kobe or LeBron or Tatum, even these kind of guys can. And the way he shot that shot, you can't really say you're shocked at this point. If you've watched basketball for the last 15 years, you know what this is. You know who this guy is. It was insane. USA got the job done. But France, man, you got to give them credit. They were right in the game till the end. Nico actually responded to one of Steph's threes late in that fourth quarter. But we pulled it off 98-87 to win gold. I want to give a huge congratulations to Jason Powell and Ty Lue for winning the gold. Again, you Ty Lue haters say what you want. And, here's the thing. With Team USA, people are always going to find a way to nitpick and say things weren't good enough. Fact of the matter is, the international game is larger than it's ever been. There's more overseas talent than there's ever been. There's more people trying to make the game than there's ever been. And the top of the league right now, the best players aren't American. And that's a whole different conversation for another show or something. But the conversation around American development and this and that, whether there's validity to the way that the Europeans are developing their players versus America, we have the biggest talent pool and the biggest basketball culture by far. End of story, not even close. We are a basketball culture. This is our game. So at the end of the day, while everybody else is getting closer, there is a gap still. We went 6-0. We won every game by double digits outside of one. And it's a one-game thing, right? In a one-game situation, one single elimination, the best team doesn't always win. Yes, Team USA should win every game because our talent is just ridiculous, especially a team like this who's drawing comparisons to the Dream Team, the Redeem Team, and whatnot. But personally, if you want to give me quick rankings, if I had to rank all these Olympic teams, USA, and my criteria being I've watched multiple full games, I would say Dream Team number 1, because I don't have time to explain why, but Dream Team is my number 1. Number 2, I would say the Redeem Team. Number 3, I'm going with this team. Number 4, 2012. I'm not a huge fan of that 2012 team, and that's another show. That's a dime dropper episode, honestly. And then I'd say 2016 and then 2020. I didn't see 96. That would be an interesting team to see. But I think this team has the toughest competition, right? The toughest competition to play against. Maybe not a single team. I don't know if any team is better than those Spain teams. But overall, absolutely, the international competition is better now. So this team, just to win it, to not lose in a single elimination setting, to not drop the ball, especially in that Serbia game. Look, you're playing against professional athletes. Anything can go wrong in a one-game situation. We got it done. Ty Lue is a gold medalist. He deserves credit. I know it's Team USA and like all this. The main thing is Team USA could pick any of these American coaches. They don't even need to pick an American coach necessarily. Is that a rule? Do they need to pick an American coach? I don't know. Let's just say they only pick American coaches. Because in soccer, you can pick foreign coaches. I'm pretty sure in basketball, David Blatt was the coach of Russia. Yeah, so you can. But we don't, we have the best, we have legendary coaches here in America, and I think an American should coach our American basketball team. But we still got it done at the end of the day. And the fact of the matter is, Ty Lue got chosen by the committee to be a Team USA coach. And they can choose a lot of people. Like Steve Kerr, Eric Spoelstra. We used to have Greg Popovich on there. These are the Coach K. These are some of the best, man. Ty Lue is much better than people think. Like, if people think Ty Lue is the reason why the Clippers haven't done, made it back to the conference finals or made it finals, like, I think you're so misguided. I think Ty has made mistakes, and every coach makes mistakes. I don't understand why players can make mistakes. They can turn the ball over all over the place. They can not play defense. They can have a bad attitude in games, poor effort level on the court. But then a coach gets subs wrong one night, and then he's a complete idiot. Like, coaching is not as easy as you think. I coach at a club, AAU, and a middle school level and a rec level. So, like, I try my best to get out there in different situations. Dude, it's not easy. And I don't have pressure like this. And I don't coach big egos. It's like, people need to give it a rest. You guys don't understand play calling. A lot of NBA sets are just universal. Every team runs the same stuff, and NBA coaches will tell you that. Ty Lue is much better than people think. I'm just going to beat it into the ground. It's my third year as this host of this show. Ty Lue, and I don't know if there's any pod, the Clippers, like media pod or anything. And you guys, some people are going to say we're all paid shills. Like, you know me, I will go at the team at any moment. And I've called Ty Lue out a ton. Like Daniel Tice and all that last year, playing Mason Plumlee over him in the playoffs. But, like, you see how marginal this is? Like, playing the backup center a couple more minutes is like, oh, what we're going at this guy for. Like, because his number one option hasn't been there, and we're going at the coach. I just think that's ridiculous. But Nico, let me just read his stat line real quick before we go to the next segment. 5 points, 8 boards, 4 offensive rebounds, by the way. 4 assists, 1 steal, just 1 turnover on 2 for 3 shooting and 1 for 2 from 3 in 25 minutes. So as I said, just didn't get too many shots up. He was quieter, but as I always say with Nico, he never really hurts you, does he? Coming up, though, going to talk about what Nico and Ty Lue have shown from these Olympics. I got to tell you a little something about eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. All right. Let's talk about what Ty Lue and Nicolas Batum have shown in these Olympic Games. I guess I just was talking about Ty Lue a lot, so let's talk about Nico. I'll give you my top 3 favorite or things I'm looking most forward to this season. Number 1, Intuit Dome and everything that comes with it. We're going to be talking about that in the last segment. Number 2, Nico Batum. Nico Batum. It's no secret that Nico Batum was the biggest pain, or what should I say? The most painful part of the Harden trade was trading Nico. Senior, he had some good years with the Clippers, but we were all ready for him to go. Rocco, that was sad to see him go because we felt like he never really got the chance in our rotation for a long, extended period of time, for a full season. And then KJ, we were excited about KJ, adding some athleticism to the team, somebody that can get us back excited for big-time dunks, above the rim kind of plays, just like the good old days with Lob City. But Nicolas Batum, he was the one that we were like, man, it sucks to lose him. He wanted to retire here, the Batum Battalion. He revived his career here. He went from this guy that was super overpaid and washed with the Charlotte Hornets to a guy that we signed on like a vet min. I forget exactly what the contract was. It was either a vet min or like $4 million a year. And he comes out, I remember in those first 2 games, the first one was against the Lakers on the Lakers floor. And mind you, this is when there's still no fans in the arenas, but we're back in arenas. And then the next game was at Denver on Christmas, and he was so good. And I was like, it was a 1 year, $2.5 million contract. Crazy. We got him for $2.5 million. And he helped us make the conference finals for the first time in franchise history. Like, that's crazy. Then we re-signed him the year after. For 2 years, $6.5 million though. Like, that's the deals that we've gotten this guy on. Like, and he just played hard every night. High IQ player, can knock down the three. Fantastic defender. Great size, great length. Moves the ball quick. Good spontaneous cutter. Always makes the extra pass. I mean, just a lesser version of his old self in Portland. And I was a huge fan of Nicolas Batum in Portland. There's some people out there, I disagree massively with them. But there's some people out there that think that if we had prime Nicolas Batum on Lob City, we would have won it all. I disagree. I think those people are completely underestimating how hard it is to win it all. I think we would have maybe made it to the finals or definitely made the conference finals. And we could have won 60 games. But CP3 and Blake, like, I love them to death. But them being the best players on your team, and they just can't win a championship to me. They spaz too much. They spaz. Like, people want to make it so much about the other guys, but like in 2015, go back and watch that game 6 and tell me that was okay from Blake. And I have a story about Blake at the end of this video, by the way. But I love him. He's like my favorite player ever. Not like as far as watching him play basketball. That would be like Magic Johnson. He's like my guy. But Blake Griffin is my favorite basketball because he's playing for the Clippers and he's like my dude. He and DeAndre Jordan in that game 6 were ridiculous. And then in game 5 against OKC the previous year, are we going to blame everybody else? And I know what the argument could be, like, maybe we wouldn't be in that position with a Nico Batum. Okay, we didn't lose to the champions, did we? We lost to the Rockets. The Rockets weren't even that great. Like, we totally should have beaten them. And then the Thunder, like, they were very solid, but they're not as good as the 2014 Spurs to me. So I still don't think we were a championship team. But my point is, Nico Batum is still really good. He showed that last year with Philly that he still has some juice left in the tank. Last year for the Sixers, he played in 60 games. And that's the thing, right? Like, 2023 was pretty healthy, 78 games. But 2022, he missed 23 games. Last season, he missed 22 games. I think if we can get him for 60-plus games, that's a win. Because we actually have wing depth. We could always play Jordan Miller or Kobe Brown more if he doesn't play. That's always an option. That's not completely the end of the world. But I still think we if we want to be back in the championship discussion when fully healthy, we need to go back and try to get a big forward, another athletic guy. As I said, like a John Collins, he's been mentioned a lot. A Jonathan Isaac type of dude, something like that. He averaged 5 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists to go along with the steal and a block. That's me rounding up. 45% from the field, 39.5% from 3. Here's my thing with Nico, and he played 25.5 minutes, which was almost 4 full minutes more than he averaged in 2023 with us. So he played more minutes with Philly. He played more minutes with Philly than any season for us besides his first season with us, 2021. So I see him playing around 20 to 23 minutes a night. He's playing there were several games in the Olympics where he played the most minutes for France. So what that's showing me is that Nico still got juice left in the tank. And not only does he have juice left in the tank as an NBA player, he's still good. He had that game in the play-in against Miami where he's making all those threes. And then in this tournament, I mean, he just helped France as a starter make it to the silver medal game. He can still knock down the three. He was guarding SGA. He was guarding Dennis Schroeder. I mean, we were talking about point of attack defense last year. And I said that Terrence Mann has too much on his plate. He's a good defender, but he's not some lockdown specialist. He's not Drew Holiday. He's not Derek White. He's not OG Anunoby. He's not Mikal Bridges when he was in Phoenix. He's not Andrew Wiggins. He's not one of those guys. He's a very good defender, and he's a solid and a great athlete, and he's always going to give you the most defensive effort. I think part of the reason why we like Terrence Mann so much is not even that he's the best defender. He's good, but it's that he's one of the guys that we can always rely on to defensively work hard every night. And that's a lot to ask in the NBA these days. That's that for many, many reasons, but none bigger than the fact that it's so hard to guard. Just given the rules and the amount of space and the way players play today, which is a lot of their skill sets are three-point shooters, that just spreads the floor. You know what I'm saying? So, like, while it's not as much contact as, say, guarding Zach Randolph in his prime, right? That you don't have those kind of players anymore. But, like, see, like, for me, like, I'm always taking a guy like Zach Randolph over, who's a good comparison? Because I should compare him to, like, a low-level star. I guess like a Mikal Bridges. I wouldn't even say that's disrespectful to Zach Randolph, honestly. I don't know. Give me somebody that I can compare it to. But like even right now, Paul George. Maybe this is hating. I would take Pete Zebo that would beat up on us over this Paul George. Like I think people would disagree with me because the shooting splits. But I'm just taking somebody more rugged. Like my point is, I'll always value skill set. Like when we're talking comparing individuals, skill set matters. But when it comes to harder to guard, the fact that there's so many shooters, it just makes it hard to cover space. So players aren't trying as hard defensively because it's hard. And the rules, as I said, they always talk about that. Nico Batum is going to help us so much on that end of the floor. And now we have what I said we need, which is Terrence Mann being a point of attack defender in a committee of point of attack defenders. So now that we have Derek Jones and Chris Dunn and Nico and Kawhi, we're set up to have a potential top 5 defense, but at least top 10. I think that should be a requirement. But anyway, Tyronn Lue, I talked about him more in the last segment, but to me, he's just proving that he's one of the better coaches in the league. You don't have to have him top 5, but to me, he's top 10, and your arguments in the comments just never seem to hold much weight to me because I think it's a lot of stands. I think it's a lot of stands that want to deflect from their favorite player all the time. But coming up, going to talk about the Intuit Dome and what I saw. It's 4 days away from the grand opening for Bruno Mars, and I got to tell you about something, too, that happened to me regarding Blake Griffin. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers your first listen of the day. For your second listen, enjoy the Locked On NBA podcast. There is no offseason in the NBA, and Locked On NBA provides daily basketball analysis from national and local experts in 30 minutes or less. No one keeps you as informed and entertained as Locked On NBA, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, so Nico Batum, going to be great for us next year. You know what else is going to be great for us next year? The Intuit Dome. So I went back on Sunday for my tour, and I parked in the West Garage, which, by the way, so let me just start by saying, the West Garage, I wonder how many parking spots it holds, because it's pretty big, and I only I didn't even need to go that high. I just parked on level 3, which is one level above, I believe, where the tunnel is. But I love entering from that entrance because that tunnel is so sick. It reminds me of the bridge over the Emirates Stadium in London for Arsenal. It felt so cool. You see the plaza up ahead. And by the way, there's a lot of room on that plaza that I didn't realize. Like, there's a lot of walking space. So I think for those of you that like listen to this show and were in my post-game interviews last season all the time, I'm thinking on the plaza overlooking the stadium, where it's in the background, is the money shot. Because I think there's going to be people are going to be walking toward the tunnel, and that area is not going to be a bunch of people walking through it because we're against a rail, essentially. So I think that is pristine for our new interview spot. Or in front of the boat, but I think there's more foot traffic by the boat. But anyway, so I'm walking down the steps, and I'm looking at the community court for the first time. I mean, it is just so surreal. They have our logo in the middle. And by the way, our flagship store is not even in the building. It's actually a separate building right facing the community court. So we have smaller Clips shops that weren't open yet inside the Dome, but we have our own store. It's a separate building. I mean, Steve Ballmer, I might just name my kid Steve because of this. Like, I don't, Clipper fans went through a lot with that racist old piece of scum in Donald Sterling. We went through so much throughout all the years, and we didn't support, like, Clipper fans don't support this team because of Donald Sterling. We never supported this team because of Donald Sterling. It's players, it's experiences, it's whatever you want to call it. Everybody has their own story, and I'm talking obviously like the local fans. Honestly, even fans that aren't local, because you don't, definitely fans that aren't local aren't supporting a team because of an owner. And once you get that connection, it's so hard to go away, even though the owner is a terrible person and this and that. Like, I don't think every Cowboys fan thinks Jerry Jones is a great person, and Knicks fans despise Dolan, but that's their local team. They support it. And the way we have seen a complete 180, the way we lucked out, and like, because my thing is this, I knew we were never going to win a championship with Donald Sterling. So I was like, this dude either needs to die or needs to sell the team for me to ever get what I want. And I don't feel bad about what I just said, because Donald Sterling is a piece of dirt. Like, I'm not going to cuss on the show, but he sucks. He literally sucks. So the fact that V. Stiviano said, hey, I want to be the GOAT today, one day, and TMZ changed my life and so many people's lives, exposing that scumbag to the world and allowing him to be or leading to him being blacklisted, opened up the door for like the most perfect guy that's on the polar opposite end of the spectrum, with an energy that could fill up that stadium by himself. That Donald Sterling, of course, extremely successful individual, but Steve Ballmer, one of the richest men in the world. He only knows winning. And while it's going to take him time to learn how to build an NBA championship team and organization, he's done things for us already that's I don't know, man. I don't know what to say about the guy. I truly don't know what to say about the guy. He says it's a love letter to Clipper fans. By the way, I want everybody to check out a piece on Fox 11 that Kelly Johnson, one of our former guests on this show, and she's in news, multimedia journalist for Fox 11. She made a mini documentary about the Intuit Dome with fans. I'm in it. Chuck Mockler, the host of Clips and Dip now, but used to be the Locked On Clippers host before me. He's in it. It's beautiful. I mean, shout out to Kelly. It was incredible. There's so much to talk about. I haven't even gotten into all this. I'm getting too much in my feels. But I'm looking at the plaza. I'm looking at the court. The steps, by the way, facing the plaza are pretty spacious, and there's a lot of them, and it's big. So there's going to be a lot of people that can sit down there and gather around for a game. You know what I mean? And the plaza where people can stand and watch a game. Then there's the community court. So, of course, knowing me, I had to get some shots up on the court. But there were no balls. So I had to use one of my indoor balls, which was not, I wasn't thrilled about. But I had to go to my car and get one. I was like, I'm not leaving without getting some shots up. And by the way, a video of my tour is going to be on my channel today. So please check that out. And me shooting shots and all that. The hoop facing the street, the left corner, when you shoot a jump shot from the left corner, it feels like you're a little higher than the basket. Not higher than the basket, but I mean, it feels like you're shooting downhill. So I was shooting them long, airballing like a MFer, in the beginning. But cool to get my first buckets on that court. I was taking some videos, and I'm taking videos of me shooting on the court, and I have the arena in the background. This isn't my life, dude. What's going on? I want to say, what have I done to deserve this? But we know we've all done to deserve this. Put up with the nonsense for all these years. There's no fan base that deserves this more. We talked about everyone talking about, we were in the basement. We're the basement team. We're the JV team. JV got a better arena than varsity? Got a nicer arena? Really? Okay. Things are changing around here. I mean, we're not going to run LA. We're not going to be LA's team. But things are changing around here. And they've been changing. This is different, man. And it's crazy because, I follow so many Laker fans and I follow so many great Laker fans. So, there's obviously a lot of toxic ones, but so many of them are great to me and followed my platform and built my platform. And so many of them, have nothing. So many Laker fans have nothing bad to say about Intuit Dome. The worst thing they're going to say is Lakers going to take that over. It's our second home. But besides that, they know this is sick. How can you hate on this arena when it was literally built for this sport? So, speaking of which, I go inside. And we're taking a tour around the club level and stuff like that. Very rich seats, probably seats that I won't be in anytime soon at least. The Tequila Club, beautiful, a gold club. There's everything is touch and go when it comes to money. Just tap, get your thing, get your beverage, whatever, and go, even from the bar. I mean, it was so cool. It was a nicer version of the Chairman's Club at Staples Center if anyone's ever been there. And then, the hallways, by the way, super nice. The floors look clean as hell. On the floors, by the way, if you see a red circle, that is concessions, and blue is the game. If I'm not, it might be the other way around, but I think I got that right. But the point is, one circle, red indicates one thing, blue indicates the other thing. And then I also finally got to see the high school jerseys. I didn't get to see my own, but I saw a bunch of them, right? In my opinion, they should have just done Southern California because it's a lot, but it is what it is. They have anyone that's played for the Clippers. Not only do they have that high school team's jersey, but they have their jersey too with the back of the jersey with their name and number. So you saw Kawhi, you saw Paul George, boo. You saw Jared Dudley, boo. But you saw guys like Darren Collison, yeah. So, and Kawhi and whatnot. So it was sick. And there's a directory that you can scan to find your high school apparently. I mean, this is just out of this world. There's so many of those touch and go concession stands in the place. I'm really wondering what the food's going to be like. I only got to try some of the popcorn. I thought it was pretty salty, pretty good, very buttery. But I'm interested to see or try the churros, the empanadas, all the stuff that they were showing the media and stuff like that. I'm very excited. As far as the arena itself, I mean, I've seen it several times now, but it's incredible. I mean, the upper level is so much closer to the lower level than Staples Center because there's not 3 levels of suites. The wall is unbelievable. It's just so steep, just rows right on top of each other, not outwards, on top of each other. So that whole most leg room in the NBA thing, I tested it out, and there's plenty of leg room, but the main thing is your knees aren't hitting someone's head kind of deal, like at Staples Center. So that's really nice. And then the buttons, by the way, the seats, nice cushion as well. The buttons on the seats, those apparently are to interact with the Halo board. And the Halo board, I mean, it hits you right in the face. It very much reminds me of SoFi, but in a smaller domed arena. It's crazy. It's breathtaking. And it's so empty in the sense that we haven't filled it with our stuff yet. But when it becomes that, it's going to feel similar and even better to how Anaheim Ducks fans feel when they go to the Honda Center. Because I'm a Kings fan, but that's one thing I noticed when I went to the Honda Center. It's it's cool to have an arena specifically for one team, and that's what we have. And I didn't get to see the court. I mean, I've seen the court a couple months ago, about a month or so ago, maybe 2 months ago at this point. I saw the court. So this time they took the court out because they're getting everything ready for Bruno Mars. But it's incredible how much closer you are to the court. And I went up to maybe 15 rows, less. I'd say 10 rows lower than the top row on the wall behind the basket. Not that bad. Not that bad at all. So it's special, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and my Blake Griffin story. So Blake Griffin, so funny. My friend, my really good friend that coaches with me as well, was at Peyton Pritchard's wedding this weekend in Massachusetts in Cape Cod. And he roomed with Peyton Pritchard at Oregon because he played on the team. And he got Blake to make a video for me. And he was like, "Dime, you can't effing guard me, bruh," or something like that. Or, "You can't effing guard me, dog." So funny, dude. Of course, I can't guard Blake Griffin, but that's just hilarious. I've met Blake Griffin, by the way. But my favorite Clipper of all time, for sure. Anyway, that's it for me in this one, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be talking about the schedule. Our opening game was announced. Playing the Phoenix Suns, the Buns. First game. Going to be talking about that in the next episode of Locked On Clippers. The age-old proverb continues, go Clippers.